Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin in Tucson, Arizona. Straight back from, where was I at? The Long Beach Expo. And had a good time there. There you go, good photo. And let's talk a little bit about the show, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I will say that although I had a nice stay there, it's always good to be back home in your own tuft and needle bed. Hashtag not sponsored. And, it's always good to be home, right? So Long Beach is a very nice area, though. The weather was lovely in Southern California, and I completely understand why people live there. And actually, if you drive the coastal line, you'll see lots of cool architecture, homes and businesses built up in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I really enjoy that type of thing when I travel, seeing old things. I kind of have a knack for old things. It's kind of what I like. There is a lot to talk about as far as how the show went and as far as the market goes. And I will try to not sugarcoat it, but I will say this, that I stopped by Stack's Bowers and was able to film a little bit there, and I have an amazing story about a coin collection that you're going to want to listen to. That story, we'll probably have that video next week sometime. This week, I'm going to be at the Baltimore Coin Show Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, June 13, 14, 15, and so it's going to change up our schedule a little bit. I'm going to do a bunch of live streams from the Whitman Expo in Baltimore, and we'll make a bunch of extra content there as we can. A lot of that extra content will be on our Instagram account at the Coin Geek and at Old Pueblo Coin. We'll try to mirror those accounts if my tech people can figure it out, because you know that I can't, right? So, but we'll have a good time up there. And so this week we're going to have new purchase videos the next couple days after this. I'm try to fit it all into two episodes. We'll see what happens there. Maybe we'll have to make it 3. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, first of all, the weather is lovely in SoCal. It's like another state of mind, because where I come from, it's a little bit more like a ring of fire. But when the angels sing, I can almost guarantee you the weather's going to feel a little bit more SoCal than Southern Arizona. That's just my take on it. And this show itself had everything from Maybelline to bad luck, and we'll get to the Maybelline later. The bad luck is that a dealer was robbed, and by mommy's little Munster, and I wish the law wasn't far behind, because I wish he was saying like reach for the sky, because then the bad guy would have been prison bound. Excuse me. With a ball and chain. But I was wrong, and they did not catch him. I wish they would have caught him. This is the type of thing that does happen at shows once in a while, and I think it happens a little bit more at bigger shows. And in this scenario, I think kind of the lesson here is, 1, that law enforcement can't be everywhere all the time, especially in a show that size. And 2, if you're a dealer, keep your showcases locked. My understanding is that it was a quick grab when someone wasn't looking. And so it's an unfortunate thing. Now for the Maybelline, this is something that it's hard for me to fully comprehend. I think this is probably the biggest news from the show, is that at the Expo, there was a company selling, I think, like phone case products. There was a company doing Botox, and there was a company that was doing hair extensions. And these companies were all like front and center in like what we would call the high rent district, where the show, so a lot of shows that are that size, the closer you are to the front door, the more expensive it is than farther back. And so there's a couple things to think about here. 1, I don't mind at all the idea of having different things that are not even related to coins and coin collecting in a show if you have the space. I understand trying to sell out the space, because you've got overhead to cover, and this all makes sense to me. But also using coin area for hair extensions, I think, was really not the best move. It's probably the most I've heard dealers guys were just bringing up like, can you believe this? Can you believe this? And so I think it was kind of a tactical mistake not to have them there, but to have them where they had them. So in other words, you could set up an entire like bazaar area, right, where you have things for sale and stuff to look at that's not related to coins, because they have the space for it. They have, there's like a side wall area. They could have put all that stuff, so that was kind of like the big hullabaloo. And then beyond that, there's just the talk about how the show was in general. And I think for the most part, the show is good. I think that it's still kind of a mixed bag because you've got a lot of dealers who they just have a little bit of a negative attitude about summer Long Beach because it's not as busy as the other winter shows are. The fall show and the spring show. And I use terms like fall and spring, so funny, because, to me in January and February, it's winter, but it's kind of spring-like for most of you guys. So it's not as busy, right? And so when I asked dealers about how their show went, I had very mixed responses because I actually had quite a few dealers who said they had a really good show, that they were steady, that they had very regular clientele. I will say, like, the dealer next to me packed up a day early, but the dealer across from me, he looked like he was busy the entire time. Like he already had a following. And so for a lot of people, I just think it has to do with how much they had, how many customers that they have already in the area that are willing to come and see them. Speaking of which, thank you to everyone who came by and said hi. Thanks for the herbology books for those of you who didn't come to say hi but dropped off some books. And I want to say I'm very sorry for any of you who came by the booth and I didn't get to say hi. I always want to talk to people and greet them and meet them, but unfortunately, I was very busy at the show the whole time, just dealing with other dealers and meeting people and trying to do some sales in between all that. And so it was a fun time for us overall. By the way, one more thing about the show. The show was opened up with the singing of the national anthem by a young gal. She's going to be a freshman in high school, and it was lovely. And it really added a lot to the show. Honestly, at first, they're like, we're going to sing the national anthem. I was like, we? And they're like, well, no, it wasn't a we. It was actually somebody else. And she did an amazing job. And it was really cool, actually. I don't go to lots of sporting events, but it's kind of fun to hear the national anthem sang and have a bunch of people applaud afterwards. Kind of gave it a nice start to the show. So hats off for that. I thought that was a nice little touch on the show overall. So let's talk a little bit about the market in general. What I saw, what I feel like I see. It feels to me like the market is still solid. I will say that the sports card market felt a little off. So in Long Beach, you have the back half of the room, maybe it's actually like a quarter of the room, is card dealers, baseball card, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon cards. And so that section felt last year like it was really buzzing. And this year it felt not as buzzing. But the rest of the show I thought was fairly well attended. I think it was not as well attended as last year. It didn't feel like it had quite as many consumers walking through the door in general. But the Long Beach Expo summer show is not always the same weekend, and people's travel plans are very different. I think it timed actually with graduation, if I understand it right. A lot of the high schools in the area were graduating that week and that weekend, which I'm sure consumes a lot. In fact, I know it consumes a lot of people's energy, because if you have anyone in the family graduating, it's like an entire week of your life disappears. Whether you're an aunt and uncle or cousin, just lots of people go to graduations. So I can understand that. All right, so we had sales of a little bit of everything to both dealers and collectors. I will say that the bullion market is dead. And what I mean by that is, of course, that we've talked about this. So those of you who watch this channel, you already know kind of the education that I put out there based on experience of how I view the silver and gold market. It is interesting because we're I think getting close to a point where silver could actually drop below spot price at the retail level. That's something that I actually saw a little bit of in 2018 and 2019, but not too often. But I know for 90% silver, which was kind of like this rock star during COVID, we used to sell it below melts to the public occasionally if we had a larger quantity that we got in, because that's what the market was. And so at the show, you saw dealers who had bullion selling bullion at melt. So what that means is there's so much downward force from there not being demand and there being a lot of sales that dealers are forced to buy well back of spot and sell at spot just to find consumers for it. That seems to be, and in a show like that, people are going to be motivated sometimes to sell, or there's competition, so they might try to sell for a little bit less. But anyways, it's very interesting to watch. And you see the same thing when it comes to gold coins. And of course, there is the Long Beach curse. For those of you who don't follow the metals market, I don't call it really the Long Beach curse, but usually when there's a big coin show, that Friday it feels like the markets just like plummet. Silver was down like 6%. I think gold was down 3% on Friday, which was funny. On Thursday, everything had gone up a couple points, and so it all went away quickly on Friday. So which affects things, like guys don't want to buy bullion when it's dropping. Anyway, so the market. Speaking of the dropping market, once again, there are things in the coin market that continue to go down in price based on where they were during COVID. But once again, during COVID, we saw all kinds of shortages and spikes and demand changes that were very artificial. And we've been expecting a lot of the changes that we've seen. We've talked about it here on the channel. And so it's not unusual or unexpected to see demand or price points, we'll say, change on things like semi-common date dollars in MS65 or GSA dollars, just things of that nature that you would see a lot of over the years, and it's something that trades very frequently, and so it's easy to kind of track. I will say that really good eye appeal coins that are semi-tougher to tougher coins still have demand and sell well at the right price point. Obviously, you can't just price things however you want. But, there were a couple coins that I bought that had really nice eye appeal that I paid well above sheet for, that I also sold for more than I paid for them at the show to dealers who really liked the coins, and they knew that they'd find a home for it. So that's a fascinating thing always to me. The sheets, the market listings, the price guides, whatever you have, they're only a recommendation, suggestion / guidepost. Every coin looks different, which is what's fun about coins and coin collecting, right? So, and what else happened at the show? There's some encouragement, I think, at the show, and that is I had a chance meeting with a young gal who looked like maybe 15, and she was into ancients and really enjoyed coins and coin collecting, and she actually had a pretty good budget for coins too. She was trying to find some certain coins, and her budget, she said, was limited. And I asked her budget, and she said $400. And I thought, that's a nice limit to have. I mean, I wish I had $400 at her age to spend on coins. But anyways, so it was fun, and we actually found her coin. So I was really excited to sell a coin to her, and it was fun to see someone like that in the show. And also, lots of families, once again, especially on Saturday. So this is all opinion here, but like for Long Beach, one of the things I don't understand, you're doing a 3-day show, and the main part of your show, I know it's during summertime, but your main part of your show is a Thursday and then a Friday, and you start packing up on a Saturday when families can usually really come out, because the reality is that even during summertime, lots of parents work. So Saturday is actually very well attended. And they have a really, really cool pirate theme on Saturdays. I think is one of the places that they actually absolutely hit out of the ballpark. They really hit the mark on this. Their scavenger hunt is really well done. It's a pirate theme. They give away booty, but they've got like little pirate hats on and stuff. And it's a really cool vibe. And we do something like that at the Tucson Coin Show, but I'm definitely going to kind of move, I want to say, more towards how they do it. I might steal a couple ideas. Last year when we did it, it was not as clean as we can do it. So we're going to try to amp it up a little bit this year and have a few more goodies and giveaways for the kids at the Tucson Coin Show in January, which I'm excited to do. So overall, let me see here. We had the good, the bad, and the ugly. It was a fun time, and I would still recommend that if you're going to go to Anaheim. By the way, this is for Disney trips out there. For any other trips out there, the Long Beach Expo is about 40 minutes to the Magic Kingdom over there, the Mickey Mouse Land. And if you want to stay somewhere in between, like near the Seal Beach area or something, you got about 25 minutes each way, however that works. And I would recommend it for the family. I would not recommend missing the show just because you hear some dealers say, well, it's the summer show, because there's still dozens and dozens, I don't know, 100 dealers in there. There's hundreds, I don't know. There's a lot of guys in there, and there's a lot of coins to look at. So you definitely have a lot of things to look at and pick over. So, all right, having said that, thank you everyone for coming to the show and seeing me. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for all of your support. And thanks to my crew who makes it all happen, that I was able to get out of town and is making it happen, working diligently while I'm in Baltimore this coming week. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben, the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.